I have to make it clear from the outset that I am of a secular tradition and orientation myself. Therefore, my remarks would be colored by this orientation. Thirdly, just a story that I believe sums up some of what I want to say. It was back in 1985. I was on a trip coming back from Palestine via Europe. Made a stop in Amsterdam. I was quite a young man then, and I had a good time in Amsterdam. I flew to Chicago, and I was about one of the first 10 people to get off the plane, because I just wanted to get out of the airport rather quickly. Well, when I got to the passport control office, there was a lady there who took my passport, and she said, "Where are you from?" I said, "Well, I'm from Palestine, but I have a Jordanian passport." And she said, "Well, all Iranians tell us that they are from Jordan." I said, "But I'm not Iranian." She said, "When is your birthday?" I said, "It's right there on the passport." She was adamantly insistent, and rather with an arrogant attitude, she repeated the question again. I said, "Well, it's January 1st, it's on the passport." She said, "All Iranians tell us that their birthday is January 1st. Well, that was long before the war on terrorism. That was long before the confusion. But it was not long after some members of Congress, in reaction to the hostage crisis in Iran in 1979-1980, that they said that these Arabs always act against us. They always take our citizens as hostage. They always target us. When I read these things, when I heard such things, it certainly dawned on me that there is so much confusion. There is so much lack of information. Well, the last quarter of the 20th century certainly witnessed a revival of religious fervor in general, and perhaps of the Islamic religion in particular, in many parts of the world, but primarily in the Middle East. This revival of religion is often called fundamentalism. Well, fundamentalists usually hold rather conservative values that they want to incorporate in political life. That could be on abortion, could be on gender roles, could be on religious nationalism, could be on a number of other issues, but by and large, fundamentalists usually hold very, very strong views rooted in some divinely ordained belief system. Such groups of fundamentalists normally cross the borders of states. That is, they don't tend to be state-oriented, although they might try to seek the support of the state if they manage to do so. They are transnational in nature. That could be Jewish fundamentalism, as we heard, Christian fundamentalism, as we heard, could be Islamic fundamentalism, could be Hindu fundamentalism, could be Buddhists. The phenomenon remains to be similar in many respects, in that its adherents believe that they are true believers in the righteousness of their own belief. Certainly, the intensification of globalization in the past couple of decades has accelerated the pace of religious revivalism and, you may say, extremism. Religion has become a force that, rather than perhaps unifying people, in some respects it has played a role to disunite people. Religion seems to be a part that one has to study, but study carefully rather than falling into the stereotypes and prejudices which we often find ourselves surrounded by, particularly as far as the conception the understanding and the realization of Islam is concerned. It is imperative, especially for civil society, to constantly educate ourselves and become truly familiar, not only with the stereotypes directed at us by the influential corporate media, but rather to become familiar with the true religious culture of the other. No more can we survive safely on this planet if surrounded by stereotypes. All of us, Jews, Christians, Muslims, seculars, atheists, what have you, we are all in the same boat. And if one part of the boat is punctured, it doesn't really matter whether you're sitting first class or in economy or on the rooftop of the boat. The consequences could be detrimental and grave indeed. Therefore, while there is Middle Eastern Islamist extremism, one cannot really speak of Islamic extremism for a good reason. Do remember that I do come from a secular background. Islam is a religion with more than 1 billion adherents. As you heard from the story I told at the outset, the terms Arabs are often mixed with Islam. The terms Islamism, fundamentalism, extremism, terrorism have become synonymous. They have used interchangeably to describe the same phenomenon, the same people, the same actors. In that, there is much confusion and much discrepancy. The 1 billion Muslims, they are not all Arabs. As a matter of fact, the overwhelming majority of Muslims are not Arabs. They are Indonesians, they are Nigerians, they are Americans, they are of all nations. Chinese, yes indeed, and of all nationalities. Not all Arabs are Muslim either. There are many Arabs who are Muslims, but there are many others who are Christians. There are many others who are Jewish. There are many others who may not subscribe to any given religion. Therefore, it would be quite inappropriate to label the whole religion, the entire 1 billion people, for the acts of a few. Islamism, then, refers to a political ideology, perhaps rooted in the interpretations of Islam, but one which has been quite affected by underlying political dynamics at the local, regional, and international levels, which I will touch upon very shortly.